Last weekend, I was 4 episodes into this show and already buying a print. Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel and to another video, and today I am making a highly requested video. I was not expecting so many people to want me to talk about this anime, but it's very popular right now. People are very interested in it, so I'm going to talk about it, and that of course is Witch Hat Atelier. And as of recording this, I am 5 episodes in. I am well aware that by the time this video goes out, I believe episode 6 will be out. It's just the timing of things. I haven't been able to sit down and watch it, but I have very small pockets of time that I can record, so I'm going to only be talking through the first 5 episodes as of right now. As someone who has not read the manga yet, I went into this show completely blind outside of knowing who the Japanese voice cast was and what I've felt so far. So we're gonna dive right in, but before we do, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment your thoughts. If you are interested in more content regarding Witch Hat Atelier and other animes, please let me know in the comments below. And for the record, no, I am not reacting to this show. I have reacted to animes on this channel before, but I try and keep that to specifically Medalist because I'm a figure skater and Demon Slayer because I have a lot of thoughts. Outside of that, I have kind of discontinued regular reactions because it just didn't feel normal, like I didn't feel genuine, so sorry, but no reactions here. That being said, I do have a lot of thoughts so far on this anime. It has been an incredible journey so far. The characters are interesting, the animation is beautiful, the soundtrack is beautiful, the storyline is interesting, and one of the things that I can say, probably the first thing I will talk about now, is the magic system. So I have watched so many movies and TV shows where they use magic, and there's witches, there's wizards, whatever you want to call it, and there is magic, and that is kind of the main power structure of the show. I have to give it to Witch Hat Atelier for having one of the most creative and easy to understand magic systems out there. I am only 5 episodes in, and I feel like I understand how it works, who can do it, the bad stuff with it, the good stuff with it, how you become good at it, how you're not that great at it, etc. Now, for those of you who maybe don't know, the magic system in the story is incredibly unique because it doesn't follow the regular idea that people can just do magic with a wand or with their hands and they chant spells and that sort of thing. I feel like growing up with stories like Harry Potter, and I really enjoy Black Clover, magic can get very muddled when it's used as the main power system within the story. A lot of times it becomes limitless, like anyone can do any type of magic. I did feel like My Hero Academia, even though it wasn't magic but it was quirks, it started getting to the point where every time we met a new character, it felt like we were just pulling stuff out of nowhere to try and make a new quirk. And who knows, maybe there will be some spells later on that do feel like they're just pulled out of nowhere. However, it is a very logical way of creating magic. Rather than just having a wand and saying a spell and being able to do magic, they are drawing, and it shows that these characters have to train their craft in a very different way than a lot of stories do, where they have to train their strength and that sort of thing, or just their control. This one, they have to train their ability to draw, which I, as someone who cannot draw to save my life, I 100% know I would not be a witch in this story, but I guess if I trained hard enough, I would be able to get there. So I do kind of relate to the main character in Koko, where she kind of struggles. She draws it lopsided, so the water shoots out to the side and that sort of thing. The magic system is by no means super complicated, but it's also not so simple that it's just like, say a spell and it happens. And it's very unique, like I mentioned, because they are drawing spells. And the way they described it, I felt like I understood it by episode 1. And that is something that a lot of other shows, when they describe the main power structure of the show, I kind of struggle to understand, or they just never really explain it and it's very gray. They took a little bit of time to explain it, and then it follows the rules very well. Let's talk about the story. So this is another big plus that I felt already. And again, I'm saying this based off of just 5 episodes so far. There's so much of the story to come. I will probably pick up the manga after the anime season ends because I'm already pretty hooked on the story. But what I like about the story is that they have made it very clear what our goals are, what the world is like, and how this story kind of took place, with Koko finding out, of course, that anyone can be a witch, even though it's well known that, you have to be born with it, but that's actually a secret that the witches are keeping under wraps so that they can control who can do magic, since magic can become a very dangerous thing very quickly. I feel like I have a really good understanding of where the story is going, with Koko being, of course, our main protagonist, having the situation where she was exposed to dark magic by this hidden dark magic witch with the mask, who obviously handed her a book and a wand that turned out to be a pen with the proper ink. And in that book, she was able to do a dark magic spell, which of course then froze her mom, which led her down the path of Qifrey taking her on as an apprentice and getting her to the point where she can reverse that spell. I think the story still has a lot to explain. I think that it's probably going to take some twists and turns just based off of how they've depicted Qifrey so far. But for the most part, the story very much I can follow. I know where it's going. I understand that there's good magic, there's bad magic, like pretty much any story. That the world is built in a way where only certain people know that anyone can do magic, and that they've had to develop this new pact with other people. I'm paraphrasing because I've only watched the episode once, but it makes sense. It's developed very well to the point where I feel like we as an audience understand what's happening without them just front-loading all the information and nothing's going to change, because there are still mysteries. Which leads me to the characters in the story. So if you've been following my channel for a while, or if this is your first time, let me explain something really quick. I love stories that have good characters. A story could have a horrible plot that doesn't make any sense, a horrible magic system that doesn't make any sense, but if I love the characters, I'm going to consume the hell out of that show. On the other side, a story could have one of the best plots that I have ever witnessed, with interesting stories, makes me think about the nuance of our world, but if none of the characters interest me at all, I don't care about the show. That means that I have quite a few hot takes within the world of anime because, oh, this story has a super compact story that is airtight and has all kinds of foreshadowing. I don't always find those shows to be the most enjoyable, because if the characters are meh, and I find that a lot of times those stories, the characters are kind of meh, I don't care. But with Witch Hat Atelier, even though the story, I would say, is so far very airtight, they've done a good job of explaining everything. It's pretty simple and straightforward as of now, but I could definitely see it go a route of being a little bit more complicated, especially with how they're developing some of these characters. I already love and adore many of the characters. Koko is such a sweet girl who just loves her mom and wants to do the best, but now she has to not only live with the trauma of seeing that happen to her mom, but living with the guilt that she is the one who did it. Koko is being set up to be a character that is a fiercely loyal friend, a very loving person, and wants to always do best, but doesn't understand the world around her and has to learn that world through trial and error. In the 5th episode, when they were rescued from this weird dragon lair from the Dark Witch, I can't remember exactly what they call the people with the masks. But when she was rescued from there, she just immediately was apologizing. I do love the characters, she's very sunshine, but she wants to do her best. She kind of takes on all of the guilt herself and is trying to do what she can with it. I do tend to really love those characters. Koko is a very cute and endearing character without making it weird like a lot of animes do with young characters, especially young female characters, if you catch my drift. And she's just overall, there's not much to her yet. Again, I'm 5 episodes in. I would say like it's pretty often that the main character gets a lot less of those side developments because the story is their development. However, I still find myself invested in her journey and her goals are very pure. She wants to learn magic so that she can go back and save her mother. Qifrey. Oh, Qifrey. I would say, without a doubt, Qifrey is the main thing that people are talking about, whether that be his writing or his beauty. It seems everyone can agree they love Qifrey. Qifrey, in particular, is interesting to me because he seems like a good person, but they are definitely showing a shrouded in mystery side to him. We know that he has some kind of ulterior motive with bringing Koko on. I do genuinely think he does want to teach her so that she can save her mother. I don't really know why he doesn't think he can. I can't remember if that's explained already or if that's something we're going to have to learn. He is clearly very skilled at what he does based off of what we just saw in the 5th episode, but he seems very much like a kind teacher. He has 4 young girl apprentices. People call him a girl dad. I can see why. He is clearly very loving and protective of these girls, but there is also a very mysterious side to him. We saw it all the way back in episode 2 when he was talking to leaders of whatever the people in charge are. Again, forgive me for not knowing all the details because I've only watched through these episodes once. But he clearly is also using Koko to get information regarding these, it's like the Brim Hats, I think is what they're called, the dark magic group of people who want to like wreak havoc and just let people use dark magic as they will. He's clearly trying to use Koko to get close to them and that she holds answers because for whatever reason they've kind of targeted her. But I think that it seems as of right now his heart is pure. It's because he wants to get rid of them because they are a danger to the world rather than it just be a use her to do whatever he wishes to do. Of course, the end of episode 5, a lot of people are talking about because Qifrey went really creepy when he told the guy, like, you will tell no one. I know in the dub he said, like, not a soul. In the sub, we just got, like, a not anyone, right? I think that they're definitely building up his character to be very complicated and very mysterious while also being a good person at heart and wanting to protect these students that he has while he teaches them. I'm not gonna lie, the only other video I've made kind of contributes to the problem, but I have found it a little bit annoying that most of the content that I see about Witch Hat Atelier is either straight up spoilers, disrespect to his Japanese voice actor, which I will talk about in a minute, or just thirst traps about him, because I do think there is a lot more to him than that. I did one post about him saying, so he's hot and crazy when it came to the last episode. So again, I'm contributing to the problem, so I probably shouldn't complain. I got a lot of Gojo gifs. No context, just Gojo gifs. I understand why people are comparing him to Gojo. I think he is by far already more interesting. So that might have something to do why I'm like kind of annoyed by it. I do know that Qifrey was created before Gojo. The manga for Witch Hat Atelier actually started in the same year that Demon Slayer's manga started, which is kind of crazy to me. I can tell this is a passion project, although I think it might be because it's not like your regular Shonen Jump work that a lot of these animes, a lot of these mangas, it takes a lot longer for them to get anime adaptations than those super popular Shonen Jump works like Jujutsu Kaisen, Demon Slayer, My Hero Academia. Those usually tend to get their anime adaptations really quickly because Shonen is just the most popular genre. It has the widest audience, so those tend to get the most anime adaptations. I think that's probably why Witch Hat Atelier is getting one so late compared to like these big battle shonens, even though it's clearly such a well thought out story. Qifrey is definitely a mysterious character to me that I'm very interested. I think they're doing a very good job at showing us that there's that mystery while not revealing everything, but not making it so that you just don't understand what's happening. I understand what's going on with the story for the most part, and I think I'm able to follow it because they're doing a good job at explaining what needs to be explained while leaving the rest a mystery. The other 3 students, Agot, Tatia, I can't remember how they pronounce her name, I think it's Rike? I don't have too many thoughts on them just yet. I do think Agot is clearly the one who's having the most development already because she kind of started out as the like super judgy, hardcore, like didn't want Koko there, didn't believe that Koko belonged there. And now, you know, she's already gone through some development to kind of start to care about her. Tetia and Rike seem very average, run-of-the-mill side character young girls. They have like very loud personality. Well, Tetia is like the loud one who's always kind of like squealing, and Rike is kind of the one that's just very quiet and speaks very monotone. I am excited to see more from them. I would assume they're going to get a lot of development too. Again, 5 episodes in, I'm not expecting much development of them yet because it takes a while to develop each character individually. You can't just develop them all at once, otherwise it gets a little muddled. So far, I find them to be pretty average anime characters, but I do think that already it's kind of set a precedence that these characters are going to get a lot of development alongside Koko. Let's talk about the animation. So I always like to make this very brief because it's anime and animation is a big part. However, I'm not super knowledgeable in the background of how to animate things. I do just want to say this show is definitely eye candy. I've never heard of Bug Films before, and as far as I know, like based off of what I have seen on the internet, not many people do. I think it's a very new, if not this is their very first project, and they are doing such a fantastic job. I just have to say, as someone who did not read the manga, so doesn't have like this background information of the story, I can tell you it's cinema. Every single episode has been stunning. It has been super dynamic and colorful and has just been really, really beautiful. Like, I have no qualms with anything. It's been absolutely stunning. It is expertly animated and it's raising the bar once again. I do think this anime genuinely has a good shot at being anime of the year for this year, which means it would be the Crunchyroll Awards next year, and I would love to see that happen. And also, a side note, the soundtrack is stunning. As someone who spends a lot of my time, if not most of my time, actually listening to soundtrack over regular music, that's something that I notice immediately, and the soundtrack for this show is beautiful. I honestly would skate to it if I had the time to skate to a lot of different music. For those of you who don't know, I'm a competitive figure skater. I currently skate to Kamado Tanjiro no Uta from Demon Slayer, and the way skating works is I'm going to be skating to that for a while, for over a year, because I'm going to keep the same program for next season. And that means that you're gonna see a lot of like the repeat music, dress, that sort of thing, because you compete with that program multiple times. It's not like a one and done type thing. And because I am competitive, it makes it very difficult to spend time to like do specific programs for a YouTube video or TikTok or that sort of thing. So that's a long tangent, but I really love soundtrack, and Witch Hat Atelier so far is 10 out of 10. Great job. Overall, I find the hype for this show to be correct. I feel like a lot of times a new show comes out and everyone is hyping the hell out of it to the point of it being kind of annoying, because it's like, okay, this is a great show, but we're getting into that territory of overhyped. And I don't necessarily agree with the term overhyped. People love shows and people are going to talk about shows, but sometimes, you know, a show will come out and people will immediately be calling it anime of the year, or this is the best anime I've ever seen. I, most of the time, am like, okay, like that's a little bit extreme. Witch Hat Atelier, I'm not saying it's the best anime I've ever seen, but I can definitely agree with the people saying I think this might deserve anime of the year next year. So far, 5 episodes in, usually it takes a long time for me to be like, I want to talk about this show, I am falling in love with this show, but they've got my attention and they're not letting go. So I'm very, very excited to see where this story goes. I 100% will be picking up the manga where the anime left off, or I will start at the beginning. I've actually been doing that a little bit more lately because I want to experience the full story in its original format, but this show has surpassed my expectations. I had high expectations going into it because I have friends who have been reading the manga and love it, so I already had those high expectations. It has not let me down. It has surpassed those expectations. So I can't wait to see more about the show. Reminder, if you want to hear me talk about it more, just let me know. This was voted on by my members. They said they wanted me to talk about it, so here I am. But if you want to hear more about Witch Hat Atelier, or I really love Apothecary Diaries, I really love Fruits Basket, I love the Case Study of Anitas. If you want me to start dipping my toes into more animes that's not just Demon Slayer, Medalist, and Naruto, which kind of feels like that's the rotation I'm constantly on, please let me know. Okay, there is one last thing that I want to address that has been bothering me about actually the fandom of this show in general. I'm going to preface this by saying I am incredibly biased in this conversation. So take what I say with a grain of salt. But I am biased because Natsuki Hanai, who voices Qifrey in the Japanese dub, is my all-time favorite voice actor. I am wearing a Kaneki shirt. He voiced Kaneki. That is Vanitas behind me. He voiced Kaneki, or he voiced Vanitas. He, of course, is Tanjiro, among many, many other characters. But the blatant disrespect that I am seeing from the fandom towards him on the internet, I have not seen this kind of disrespect, especially towards a Japanese voice actor, ever, and I feel like I have to say something. So, for the record, it is okay to not love that casting. You are allowed to have your own opinions. But the moment you start getting on the internet and saying, it just doesn't fit, I don't like it, he's not the right Qifrey, he just sounds like Tanjiro, that Tanjiro guy, I don't like him as Qifrey. That Tanjiro-ass voice, I literally saw a comment like that. We have lost the plot, guys. He is a real person who is a professional and puts a lot of passion into his work. They casted him for a reason, and from what I have seen from the mangaka, they have said in their head he had a very kind, gentle voice. That is Natsuki Hanai. He does best with the kind, gentle characters. And I'm so sorry that it's not the casting you imagined in your head as a manga reader, but just because you've been reading the manga for all these years does not give you a right to be disrespectful about the voice actor themselves on the internet. For the record, saying that Tanjiro-ass voice is so weird because that's the same as saying Daniel Radcliffe can never play anything other than Harry Potter. Every time you see him, all you think is Harry Potter, because these people have gotten cast in these stories that were very famous and they played the main character, and now you're pretty much saying they can't play anything else after, which is crazy. Natsuki Hanai has an incredible range. Vanitas is a crazy character who is mature, who moans in the show. Yeah, not to mention he played Kaneki long before he played Tanjiro. He's played Nagumo in Sakamoto Days, an adult man who's very kind of sultry and silly and makes jokes and kind of evil. He's played evil characters. He's Riddle in Twisted Wonderland. He has a very wide range. Just because he was Tanjiro, and Tanjiro happens to be a very popular shonen main character, does not mean that anytime you hear him in a character that isn't that, you should be like, oh, it just sounds like Tanjiro. Because that's a you problem. Just saying publicly, I like the dub better because the voice doesn't match in sub is disrespectful to the voice actor. I'm just saying, that is. Some people have tried to tell me that's not, but it is. And again, I understand I'm very biased because Natsuki Hanai is my all-time favorite voice actor, so of course I'm taking this kind of hate towards him a bit more seriously than the average person will, but that doesn't change the fact that if I saw this about someone else, I would say the same thing. We just need to be respectful to these people that are voicing these characters. Whether you prefer the dub, whether you prefer the sub, it doesn't matter. Just watch it, and you don't have to act all high and mighty on the internet that you prefer one over the other. I've heard clips of the dub. I think he sounds very good, but I'm gonna continue to watch the sub because it has my favorite voice actor. In fact, his casting is one of the reasons why I chose to watch the show. I'd already heard a lot about it, but it made me prioritize the show. Anyway, I think that's made me very cautious to join the fandom because I don't want to be a part of a fandom that is very willing to get weird on the internet about how much they're mad that, you know, they cast, like people literally saying they cast Tanjiro. No, his name is Natsuki Hanai. Anytime someone's like, I can't believe they cast Tanjiro, or Tanjiro is voicing, no, he's not. Tanjiro is a fictional character. His name is Natsuki Hanai. Put some respect on his name because he is an incredible voice actor. And that's gonna be it. Otherwise, I'm going to vent a little bit more. What do you think of Witch Hat Atelier so far? Have you been enjoying it? Do you have anything you want to add to what I've said? Let me know in the comments below, but thank you so much for watching today's video. Again, if you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next one. Mata ne!